Hey, I'm Daniel Canary. I'm a producer, artist. You're listening to Us People podcast with Savia Rocks. I hope you enjoyed.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I'm humbled to have Daniel here, who is a freelance music producer and artist. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast. How are you?
I am great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. He's laughing already. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I know. I said my game face is on now. So, yeah,
I love it. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
When the first question I do normally ask everyone, and I say this every time, is I always like to know a little bit about my guests' background, where they come from, where they grew up, what influences them. So, Daniel, tell me a little bit about where you grew up, how life was for you as a young child, and what influenced you into music.
For sure. So basically, wow, I actually haven't spoken about myself a lot. I'm usually promoting other people, so
Hey, this is nice.
I have to think about this. But yeah, no. To start off, basically, I was born in the UK. I was born in Newham, East London. So yeah, I lived there for a year, and then we moved out to Surrey, and then I was there for obviously the duration six years following, and then we left in 2005, and we went to South Africa. My parents were obviously they had done their time, got the citizenship, sorted that all out, and they were like, okay, now it's time to go back to Africa and kind of like obviously bring up the children, because they wanted us to just kind of have like a more just, I don't know, they kind of just they felt like
The
there was a
education.
claustrophobic
Yeah.
energy to the London life. So they just want us to have a different type of upbringing. Obviously, my dad is actually Zimbabwean, so going back to Zimbabwe was actually just not quite the best option, but had inherited South African nationality from his dad. So obviously, we're like, okay, the next best thing is South Africa. So yeah, so we ended up going to South Africa, and then that's me. So it was kind of just a little bit of like adjustment. Obviously, it was because I was starting to get used to, the UK. I was only in like grade 2 or whatever, so it wasn't that deep. But as obviously things progress, you're like, okay, nah, I'm enjoying the South African vibe. You
Yeah.
get to know the people, you immerse yourself in the culture. And that was also what I just enjoyed doing the most. Obviously, coming from somewhere else, it's like when you get to a new place, you're like, I want to immerse myself in the culture that's there. And obviously, just growing up, trying to figure out where you fit into everything, and just finding your own stride and identity as a person.
Yeah.
So yeah. After that, obviously I had told you off air. Basically, we had just obviously finished school, went to uni, just I was like, okay, let's be a good son. You know, follow up. I had applied to university. I had literally, actually, the story of how I got into medicine. Um, I had basically been on the waiting list. I had applied for medicine at Wits University in Johannesburg, which is like the business capital of South Africa.
Yeah.
So basically, I'd applied for medicine. I was on the waiting list. My dad was like, you need to really push this. I was like, okay, I don't know about this.
You look stressed.
I don't know about what's gonna be happening. My marks were like, we were borderline basically. I had qualified, but I was kind of like borderline. I was like, I don't know if anything is gonna give. I was almost gonna be going to another place to study something completely different, science related, and basically I actually haven't said this to anybody, but there was a girl. And
Oh.
there was a girl, and she was also in Johannesburg. And she
Mhm.
told me, just like, nah, you need to pursue your dreams and what. I got the motivational pep
Oh, the
talk.
girl gave you the
And,
motivation, huh? Uh-huh. Yeah,
and then
Daniel.
after that, literally a week later, I had got my driver's license.
Oh my gosh. See
I
what a
got
woman
my
can do
driver's
to you guys?
I got my driver's license. I was like, the first trip I'm doing, I made my way to Joburg. I went straight to the university, and I tried to just like, I put on my like suit and everything, and I was like, I was ready to go. I had a briefcase with my documents, all of my things. I had a CV printed out. I was ready to go.
Wow, the power of a woman. The power of a woman.
Cannot be faulted.
Oh,
Um,
the
Yeah, and then basically I just obviously put my best foot forward. I had arranged the meeting. I was like, went to the admissions desk, and they were like, okay, you need to sign this now. Like you can't go anywhere else. If we give you this offer, like you gotta take it. And I was like, say no more, I'm in.
yeah, see?
So basically, yeah, then I basically made it in, and I obviously was like, okay, let's give this a shot. Let's see how this pans out, basically. And obviously 3 years later, I had done it, tried and tested. I got in. We've done like anatomy. I had gone to the labs. I had like done
Wow.
dissections and everything. We had just started with the rats. Then next second, you're doing full human bodies and
What?
everything.
How
So
was that?
yeah,
How was that for
like
you? What how did that make you feel?
um, to be honest, when I first got into the room, I saw the body that they donated as actually it's all donated bodies basically, and it's actually amazing that people will donate something like that to a university just for learning. It's like incredible to me that that's done. So you just kind of have like a sense of respect for that, because like this is a real person was there, and you kind of just get a sense of respect for who they are, and just like just the fact that you have this opportunity to do this, to get to know everybody inside out basically. And on the first look, I was kind of expecting something really horrific, but for some reason it kind of looked a little bit fake to me. Like it was such a surreal like
Moment.
experience that it didn't
Yeah.
quite compute in my brain. I was like, oh, this kind of looks like a doll or something. Like I don't know what I expected. I think I just like, obviously seeing movies, you kind of like expecting when you see like a cut or something, like you're expecting blood to be squirting everywhere. But obviously the bodies were kind of like drained and everything. So it almost looks like it's a prop
Oh
almost.
wow.
Yeah. So basically, I hope there's no queasy like viewers or
If they
anything.
faint, it's all right. They faint in their house. It's fine. Or they faint
Yeah, the
as long as
safety
they're
of
not
the house.
riding a bike on their way to work and they decide I'm going to listen to the Ask People podcast and I want to be a producer. I'm going to listen to Daniel's and then decide, oh my gosh, they talk about dead bodies.
Unfortunately. So swiftly moving on from that, so we don't dwell there anymore. It was just kind of just like, it's just a very surreal experience. And then you kind of just get like, okay, after that, you keep that in mind. You're there week in, week out, and you're like, okay, you just have to go through this section, that section, that section. And you're just going through it like it's a textbook, basically. So that's how it just feels. And everybody, obviously, because everybody around you is like being all mature for once in their life. Because first year, you don't really find that. But, the second year, you're kind of like, okay, everybody's in there,
Have to be
know
a bit
each
more
other.
serious.
It's no longer
Yeah.
jokes. We're serious now. So, yeah, you just get in there, you do your thing, basically. So, yeah.
Oh
Um,
wow. That's an
obviously,
experience I've never heard of, but
definitely,
most definitely.
definitely.
What actually
Um,
got you into music now? Because you've done quite a few things and you've transitioned from medical to music.
Yeah, so there was actually my roommate who I had met and in the opening day basically. He was also a producer as well. He did like EDM things as well, which I had found out. I was like, okay, I got to Joburg, new city, basically for me because I was in a smaller town. I grew up in a smaller town. So I got to the new city. I was like, okay, now I just need to meet as many people as possible. I met him. He was in the class. He kind of like, he was also like meeting other people. I saw he was greeting people, and I was like, yeah, now I need to know this guy. This guy looks like he knows what he's doing and he knows people. So I was like, let me hang around this guy. And it turned out that he was a music producer as well, studying medicine. And literally 2 weeks after I had met him, he was like, "Oh, I was getting a place, and the person that was supposed to be my roommate, he kind of just dropped out on me." And I was like, "Listen, I'm looking for a place to stay.
Ah,
So let me just kind of like get in there and like obviously we can sort out something." I was like, I didn't even know the guy. I had met him like 2 weeks ago. I was like, we cool, but I just felt like, judge of character, he seemed like an all right guy. So it's like, okay, I think I can live with this guy. He doesn't seem like he's too high maintenance, earnest guy. He's also in the same course as me. We got this.
oh wow.
So yeah, I ended up moving in with him and we stayed together. And basically that became like my first kind of like producing buddy,
Okay.
essentially, because it was a hobby that I was the only one in my school that was really interested in music in that time, like in a very serious type of way,
Yeah.
where I was producing, because we had both been producing before that in our high schools. So basically it was just like the match kind of worked. We were both doing the
So you
same
both had
thing.
a really good connection, it sounds like. It sounds like you both had a really, really good connection and you
Oh,
just
that's my
decided.
brother, basically.
Ah,
That's
see,
literally my
see what I
brother.
mean? There we go.
So yeah, after that, basically we just started just like learning more about our production, and in between our medicine, of course, we just kind of like would get home and we would just kind of like diversify just what we do. So obviously because he was more EDM, he wanted to learn a bit more hip hop, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm more hip hop, let me learn a little bit more EDM and kind of like find some things. And I was also always into kind of like finding more eclectic music as well, just like some interesting type of music. So I would introduce him to that, and he was also catching on to his own type of taste as well from what I was introducing him to. And then he was introducing me to new things, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I see what you're doing over here. So yeah, we just fed each other, and we kind of grew from there to a point where we were like, okay, this we kind of good at this. We got the hang of this whole producing thing. We would get there and we would invite whoever over, and they would kind of be like, okay, what type of beat do you want? And we just make a beat, and it would be whatever they really wanted. You want that type of beat, we'll make that type of beat. You want this type of beat, we'll make that type of beat.
Cool.
And that's kind of how we formed the whole Fake Deep label, basically, is a collaboration between him and I, basically. So yeah, that's actually the story. It's all kind of like all linked into one thing,
No, it's good.
basically.
A
Yeah.
story is a story. We all have stories and journeys that help enhance us and help enhance other people. So a story is a story, and that's who are you listening to at the moment? Who are the artists and producers that you are listening to at this present time?
Ooh, at this present
Yeah,
time.
well, ooh.
Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna
He's
get
gonna
on
get
my
his phone
phone
out.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the phone out just so I can like think of exactly who. Because recently my earphones actually broke.
No.
Very tragic. So that's obviously like my casual listening has been a little bit wonky right now. So I've kind of just been working a lot on my own things. But I do have like my favorites that I just kind of like go back to all the time just for like a little bit of inspiration. Like, how did they do that? you know? So I do have those that I'll listen to. There's actually quite a few South African producers that I'm
Oh,
listening to. A lot of them from they post on SoundCloud a lot of like quite consistently. So I always try and keep that. Um, keep my ear to the ground when it
Yeah,
comes to what's being produced locally
most definitely.
there. Um, oh, actually,
Uh-oh.
yesterday,
Ah.
yesterday and the day before that, I had a Destiny's Child like appreciation thing. I just,
Ooh.
what was the song? Catered to You popped into my head,
Mm-hmm. See,
and I really like.
that's a woman song right there. Mm-hmm.
See, and obviously, I really liked Rodney Jerkins' Dark Child production. Like that's like for me, it's like my staple is R&B. So like I really like R&B producers are like they're like there for me. Like so yeah, I was just binging on Dark Child production. So that's like Tony Braxton, Destiny's Child, Beyonce, obviously on our own. Um, who else did he produce for? Brandy as
Yeah,
well. Um, yeah, you know the rest. You know the
yeah,
rest.
most definitely.
But in terms of like my own personal music, who inspires me, I would have to say I don't know if you listen to Jodeci, but the producer for Jodeci is Devontae Swing,
Yes.
and that is like he's like oh my
I
goodness,
think
that's like
he
my
used to.
inspiration.
I think he used to sit down with. I think it was Missy Elliott and Timberland a lot as well, and produce with them.
Indeed, yeah,
Yeah.
for part
So
of Swing Mob,
that's
basically. That's
it.
like
There you go.
oh my
Oh,
goodness.
you should
So
see him,
that's
guys. He
like
looks like he's in
I'm a
heaven.
fanboy, literally, of that whole because they have like a huge tape that they have, like an unreleased tape that they have. So I managed to get that off of the internet and I literally that's what I binge. Like every day there's like at least one song from that tape. There's like 40 songs and they've just like it's unreleased stuff by like Timberland's production, Missy Elliott's obviously with her girl group that she was part of. Some of the samples were recycled and put into Aaliyah's stuff as well.
I
You
remember that.
have Genuine was there, like his first songs as well. I was like, it's like a treasure chest of just inspiration. Like it's crazy. And the thing is, it's like when you hear that music, you can literally take the techniques that they were using back then, and it literally applies to the modern R&B that we're using, that we're hearing today.
Most definitely.
Like as much as people kind of like recycle a sample or stuff, but like it's more so like in terms of like hearing trap music when you hear the hi
Yes.
hats, the hi hat rolls and things. Timberland was doing that back then. Like it's being done. Like they were on it like 20 years ago. But obviously that's because they're from Virginia. It's the Southern influence.
That's
So
true.
that's why it came through. So basically
Ah.
that's my main inspiration for my music. And I just like I enjoy making R&B mainly, but you know, just because you have to stay diverse. I do a little bit of house here, you do rap tracks, you'll experiment. I was like, I got here, I was like, okay, let's see what this drill thing is about. You know, you'll make some drill, you'll experiment with those sounds as well. Um, Pop as well is in high demand, so you also just have to try and learn how to do pop, understand the engineering behind that as well, the sound engineering that they do with that. And because that's obviously the more technical thing, how they structure their songs as well. Because I'm just kind of just like used to you just go off, you express yourself in that type of way, but now you also have to think about what's marketable and everything like that. So that's kind of just everything is just all mixed together, and that's kind of like what you get and what you hear from what I do,
I think
basically.
people get
Yeah,
so excited when they're producing music that the business side of it, which I'll get into a little bit later, is not
indeed,
something that everybody concentrates on because they're so infused and excited about producing the music. Uh,
indeed, yeah.
so that's definitely one thing. How do you, as a producer and artist, approach producing and being an artist? Because everybody has a different approach of how they do things. How would you say that you do things that helps you as an individual?
Um, at the moment, I would say because I'm obviously still in a very a developmental stage, I'm obviously still trying to learn, I'm still trying to grow. And I'm trying to, just as I've said, like just diversify the sound. If somebody asks me to do something, I'm there, like I'm learning, I'm doing it. I'm like, that's what we had been doing in university with my roommate Leroy. We had been ready basically. It was almost like it was the training for coming here, to just kind of like being able to jump on anything. Now when I'm requested to do a pop track, I'm kind of comfortable, like, okay, what do you want, what type of beat, where's the references, and I'll just kind of like produce whatever is given to me. If you want to vibe out with what I like, that's also fine as well. But at the end of the day, I kind of approach my producing and artist thing. It's like two separate things. When I'm a producer, I'm part of service. I serve whoever I'm producing for.
Yes.
So I'm advising them and serving them at the same time. It's like, I see this is what you do, this is what you bring, this is how we're going to make you shine in
Yes.
this track. And
I
we
like
need to
that.
give you, we need to bring out whatever sound will make you relevant, like make it a little bit, you need to shine in a way where it's like you're you're accepted in the batch, but you're the special child. Like, you need to be the special child, basically. So, basically when I produce something, we'll always try and add a little bit of a little sprinkle of something just to make it like interesting and just a little bit edgy or something, while still fitting into what I think would be marketable and just, acceptable to people to listen to and vibe to, because you just want people to enjoy the music at the end of the day,
That's
and it's
true.
all for the audience.
That
So
is true.
um then when it comes to like the artist side, then it's kind of like I'm a bit more laid back when it comes to the artist side, because then it's kind of like, okay, I want to just do what I want to do. And then I just kind of like put together whatever. It usually comes from obviously the production. Um, I'm driven by the sound of the music, as opposed to having like a message and a lot to say. Obviously, you'll try and put yourself into the song, but it's driven by, okay, this is what I hear in this track, and this is what it's making me feel, and this is what I feel like people would relate to and understand from that song. So yeah, the approach would definitely be that of, I'm still like a producer that's an artist in a way, as opposed to an artist that's a producer, I think. Yeah. So I've tried not to fall into the tropes that comes with that, but it's kind of hard. I think just I like to just make good music, and then the other side of me is that I've also danced professionally as well.
Look
So
at
I
you
also
hiding all these talents.
we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Okay,
That's not
cool.
important for
Okay,
now.
okay. I got time. I've got time.
That's not important for now. So basically, I enjoy dancing. Let's just say
He
that.
likes to shake his booty, basically.
Exactly. So when I make music, it's obviously sometimes it's just an expression of just the feelings. For if it's the R&B, if it's the slow stuff, it's just gonna be slow. But if it's upbeat, you best believe it's like I want to make it so that if I had to dance to it, I would enjoy dancing to it. Just added a little bit of this and that, the personality that you put into it, that a dancer would enjoy from music. Because at the end of the day, if you're making something upbeat, what do you want the people to do? You want them to dance.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
that's what I also just enjoy as an artist, is just seeing people dance. So I move a lot. Like if the trends are moving towards, if the dancers are moving towards a certain trend, I would rather leave what I do and kind of just understand what the culture is between that trend of music, so that I can cater to what people like to dance to, because people like to dance to different types of things, and it's changed over the years from when I used to be listening to like music in high school to now what kids are listening to today. It's You think it's not changed that much, but it's changed quite a bit. You're like, okay, yeah, this over time it has changed. Like you don't notice it as much when you're just going through the motions. And I always kind of felt like, you know, um, an 80s is completely different to a 90s, and a 90s is different to the 2000s. But like kind of when it got to like 2010, you were kind of like, okay, it's not that different to what you're hearing now after that. But then when you look back and you hear a song now of a trap song, for instance, now, and then you hear it back in 2012 or something, you're like, whoa, we've definitely come a long way, and people are moving to the songs differently. They're hearing the songs differently. Their taste is different. So the sounds have evolved, and obviously I try and just evolve with that whilst trying to ensure that I bring myself to it as well. Like just make sure that you have that identity that you like identify with in the track. So no matter what song it is. And I think that's what gives people longevity as well. So
No, definitely.
yeah, that's what we're going for.
No, that's true. What do most producers use when it comes to equipment and software? So, if you were to give someone advice about what equipment you should use if you're starting out, what equipment and software, and he's smiling because he knows this, would you give to them to help them start up to be a producer?
To start out being a producer, I think it's not even with the equipment to start off with. I think it starts off with what you identify, where you're going, like what you want to do with it. Like, okay, obviously, get your FL Studio, download it, whatever, get to working on it. Like, check if you like it or not or whatever, get in there, get stuck in, ask your friend, your producer friend or whatever for a couple packs so you can, get started and get started with what you want to do. But I think music is so much more than just the production of it. You kind of have to think about the stories that you're trying to tell with your music.
That's a good answer.
And yeah, I'll take that. So yeah, you just have to think about the story that you're trying to tell with your music. What does it mean to you? What makes you unique? Because even when you'll listen back to, like, if you're really inspired, you'll listen back to your early things and like, there's obviously the first few are whack, they're really terrible. But then when you get your stride, you'll hear something in your old stuff that is like, you were doing something. There's something interesting about what you were doing. You were experimenting, you were trying new things. You were like really, you were doing something innovative. So I just think you need to be able to capture that in a bottle. You need to be able to just like capture what's you in a bottle and know yourself as well. Like know yourself outside of the music, like know what you stand for, know about the people that are around you, so that you can take what they are giving you and you can give it back to them and do more with that. Because also music is just a social thing. It's to be shared with other people. So you just like, if you're able to just like take what you're hearing around you, all the influences that you're taking from around you, and kind of like turn it into your own thing and give it back to everybody else, then I think that's what really will make you take off as a producer and will give you the drive to kind of like actually go and do this. Because it's a slow process and it's a long road, and there's a lot of doubt that you'll have to go through. You'll be challenged at every turn. Is this what you really want to do? You will be challenged at some point, and you need to understand like what's driving you and what are you in this for? Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve with this? Like, do you want to make the people move? Do you want to just, make music for your friends? Do you want to become a pop star? Do you want to become a superstar? Do you want to be a rapper? Do you want to do like whatever it is? Just know what you want to achieve, and like you set your mind to it. You look at how people are moving around you that are trying to do the same thing as well, and you just like you set your eyes on that prize and you go for it. That's basically that's it. That's really it.
So if you're an artist, yeah, how does an artist get a producer to notice them? Because one question that I have been asked a lot when it comes to music and producers and artists is that artists find it extremely hard to connect with a producer. So, from your point of view of being a
Mhm.
producer, what attracts you to an artist, and how can an artist attract you so that they can work with you or get your attention?
Okay, what are we looking for? What are we looking for? Okay.
Hey.
Uh, from the artist standpoint, it's I think it's a lot to do, as I said, with everything outside of music. It's everything outside of the music. Because obviously, if you haven't made music before, what we're judging from is everything outside of the music. So unfortunately, sometimes it's not primarily just talent on its own, but also how you carry yourself,
That's
how you're
true.
able to interact with people. Because the reality is, if you want to be taking it seriously, and as a producer myself, it's like you want to also be working with people that are going to uphold themselves in a certain way and be as consistent as you would like them to be, so that you will see, we'll all reap the benefits of what we put in to the music. Um, so basically, as what you would look for is kind of just it's a certain charisma in a way. It's the confidence to kind of just go for what they want, have an idea of what they want. Know as much as possible about what you really want to achieve, like a sound. You want to have a specific sound that you want to go for. um, if you have a sound that you want to go for, are you able to deliver on that? You know, if you do have the skills for that, what you're trying to go for, then it should be, it kind of, it's like it shouldn't be that hard to attain. So it's kind of, you have to I don't know, I feel like it's actually, this question is a bit, is genre specific, because it's like I would give different advice if I was to say like a singer as opposed to a rapper, as I would
Yeah.
say to somebody that wants to do like EDM, or you want to like, I think it is a bit more genre specific. But as I said, if you do know what the image of what you're going for is, then it just makes it a lot easier, because then the producer knows what he's dealing with. They know what they're going to get from you. And then that will just make it a lot easier, because if you're kind of sure about yourself and you know what you want to do, then it just, we'll know how to place you and what to do with you and what advice to give to somebody that maybe is not quite ready to be working with you, or you'll know how to deal with it. So it's just, be sure about what you're doing, communicate. I cannot stress this enough. Woo, guys, communicate. Communicate as much as
I
possible.
wish you could see
Like,
his face right now because he's like, guys, communicate. I'll beat you if you do not communicate. No, I agree with you, Daniel. Communication is one of the biggest things in life to do is communication. Without communication, you do not have much, to be quite honest.
literally, you're gonna, like, as an artist, you're gonna be interacting with people at completely different ends of the
Levels.
spectrum. You need
Yeah.
to be able to talk to,
Yeah, no, that's
I
true.
don't know, a fan. You need to talk to your friends. You need to talk to the business person that's gonna be putting you on. You need to talk to an investor. You need to talk to,
Yes.
a marketer. You need to talk to, like, you have to be able to do all of these things. Like, if you want to take being an artist serious, like, you have to do all of that. And generally at this stage, the way that being an artist is, as an independent artist, you have to be able to do all of that. You have to be self-managed. You have to show potential for people to even take any notice.
That's
So
true.
you literally have to hustle. The start has to be a hustle and a grind. Literally, there's no rules for it. However you can get attention, you do it. Literally, whatever your body allows you to do and your mind allows you to do, without losing your morals, hopefully.
Easy. Easy, Daniel. Easy.
Hopefully, you basically just need to
Oh.
do that. And that's basically what's gonna give you that edge to just like do what you want to do. Like you just want to get to a place where you do what you want to do essentially. And I think it's just like it's really just about getting down and dirty and like putting in the work, sending out, doing the tedious admin that comes with all the down and dirty. Like there's cheat codes, but like when I meant down and dirty, it's more just admin work. It's a lot of forms. It's a lot of searching on the web to find places to put your music out. It's a lot of DMing people. It's a lot of being ghosted or mised, as we would say in South
Yeah,
Africa.
ghosted, most
It's
definitely.
it's it's a lot of all of that, and it comes with it because literally no one owes you anything at the start. No one really owes you anything, so you literally have to give them a reason to take notice. You got to show potential. You got to have maybe, I don't know, you have recorded some track that's a banger, that's just undeniable, that when you press play, it doesn't matter who it is, the head is nodding to whatever you're playing. You gotta have one of those. Like you must have hustled it from a session that your cousin's brother's mother's little thing is a producer, and you managed to get that recording session and you went in there and you recorded that and you put your heart on that track and you did your thing. If you've done that and then you like sending it off to the right people, they're showing your potential,
Yeah.
then that's when you're going to have a sure route to kind of just getting where you need to be.
No, that's true. No, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
So how does a new producer? I know you spoke a little bit about a producer having the charisma to start and being a producer. That's one thing, but
Yeah.
let's talk about the setup a bit more, because what I want to
Okay.
try and get out to the listeners, especially for people who are starting out, what equipment do you actually need to become a producer? Is it expensive? Is it a thing there where you can just have a laptop? What do you need from your point of
Oh,
view?
definitely just if you can get a hold of a laptop, that's literally all you need. That's how I think 90% of our generation of producers have started, is from just the laptop. So if you can like save up your cash and get a laptop somehow, go to a Cash Crusaders, Cash Converters or whatever, get a secondhand one, make sure that you're trying to get like maybe anything over an i5 core laptop, and you find a way to get some type of DAW
Yeah.
door on your computer, whether it be FL Studio, Ableton, whatever. You try and just get there's plenty of free packs that you can get on the internet as well. You can just search on YouTube that can kickstart what you really need, just sample based things,
Yeah.
to just kind of like get into the swing of producing your own music. Um, and from there, that's basically it. Then the rest is just up to you, literally, because you have the equipment. From there, it's just about now learning how to present what you're doing.
Yes.
It's literally about learning how to present, because um, after a couple of months or so, I'm sure a couple of months, if you've got the knack for music, um, you'll be able to have something. It'll just be about now uh, mixing it in a certain way, just to make sure that it's reaching a quality that is presentable to other people. Like at the end of the day, as much as somebody will maybe like say, oh, this is not mixed professionally or this isn't mixed professionally, your ears won't lie to you. So if something sounds good, trust your ears. There's obviously there is more technical things to it, and you do have to kind of, obviously, if everything is clipping and you redlining everything, then there's a problem. But there's rules that are set in place to kind of play around with, but the rules are not set in stone, and literally you can get to where you need to go in any way, basically. So it's just about making it presentable to people. If the ideas that you have in your head, you're able to put them onto that computer and give it to the people, then that is your job as a producer basically done from the music standpoint. Now the rest is literally just up to how you get it to the people that you want to get it to, whether that be the rappers that you're trying to get it to, whether that be to an A&R that you're trying to impress, whether that be to, you know, whoever, just promoters or something, whether that be to the event planner that you're trying to impress. You're like, okay, I'm trying to get in at a club or DJ at a club or something, whatever it is, just as long as it's presentable, you carve out that opportunity out of like whatever means necessary. You just have to carve it out. Um, but yeah, the laptop, just as long as you got a laptop, I think you can literally everybody, and I mean anybody can make money. As if you got a laptop, you can make money. That's like the be all and end all. However you decide to make the money, that's kind of up to you. You can do a million things. You could be an investment banker for
Yeah, no,
for all
that's
you know
true.
if you got a laptop. Like a laptop is literally just an enabler for everybody. It's almost just standard procedure at this point for you to just have a computer that you can access, that you can just utilize to your best, and also just internet. Ooh, guys, internet. Living a life without unkept Wi-Fi is also quite it's tough. It's it's tough, and it happens a lot in like South Africa, where I'm from, obviously. So people have to make do. They make plans. They will organize with this person and that person to make sure they got enough data to get on the internet and do what they need to do to make things happen. If there's an electricity cut, you plan the day before because you check that the electricity cut was going to be on that day. So you make sure you're done the day before. So like you make plan, like you take that, like there's a certain level of hustle that needs to go into making money out of anything, basically, and especially when it comes to music. So that's where everybody's kind of like, I mean, obviously that's where you want to get to, a place where you're producing and you're kind of like you're getting something in return for what you're doing, whether it be reaching the people that you can reach. If you want to make more, then obviously it enables you to reach more when you make money from what you're doing. So as much as you can say, the music drives the music, hey, also the money drives the music as well to a certain degree.
I think, yeah, it just depends on your passion and your drive of what you
Yeah,
are doing it for. I think, yeah, I think that's a
exactly.
big aspect of it as well. What would you say, Daniel, is the hardest thing about producing from your point of view?
It's not producing.
It's not.
The production is not the producing. Nah, the producing, I don't know. I think it's like you get comfortable, you get it. Like, I think, okay, actually, you know what? If we talk about the producing on its own, I think it's the fear of being like kind of like stale and being stagnant and not progressing. I think that's definitely a fear when it comes to, for me, it's kind of like I don't want to get to a point where I'm not moving. I feel like I'm going in circles. I feel like I've made the same thing over and over, and I'm just like staying in the same spot. That's probably the biggest fear for me, like right now. But aside from that, it's everything outside of producing. It's just more about the business side of the music and getting it where it needs to go, because it's almost like 30% of the process is making the music, and then the other 70% is literally just the marketing of the music. You can't burn yourself out making music, because if you burn yourself out making the music, unless you have a place or a team doing the rest for you, you're not gonna get anywhere. You need to be thinking about the grand plan of how you're going to be putting out the music and how people are consuming your music.
Yes.
Like you need to have like a plan. Like if you're dropping an album, you need to think of the promo, what you're gonna be doing to just like give it a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a sprinkle of something. Like, are you gonna be doing a dance challenge? Are you gonna be going out in the streets and I don't know, selling mixtapes or just shouting it with a placard or something? You gotta think of what you're doing. Are you gonna do a music video to just give people visuals for what you're doing? Are you gonna do it the money way, where you're just gonna pump money into Facebook ads? until something happens. You also like Facebook ads are also quite important as well because Facebook has bought out Instagram, so you can control your Instagram ads from Facebook. So that's also important. You have to know about that. It's like there's
Yeah, that's
oh
true.
guys, there's it's a whole that's the job outside the job, and that's like the main job basically is everything outside of making the music. If you're not enjoying making the music, I don't know. It's not gonna be for you because you need to be enjoying making the music. Like you need to be happy when you're in the studio making these things. You need to be like just enjoying that experience because everything like outside of that is where you really need to be knuckling down and making things happen for real. That's where the actual work happens. So
Where
yeah.
do you find most of your artists to work with?
So at the moment in the UK, obviously I've been looking on like platforms like Star Now and like where was it? There's some other directories as well. There's a couple of other directories where you just find new artists just to like kickstart that, just so I could find like smaller artists. And then as that would happen, I continued to find people from just Instagram, obviously because I would follow those people, and then obviously you find the community there. Then obviously then you'll go and you'll go to like live events, for instance, whatever, like an open mic or something like that, any of those types of evenings. Um, I I've done also like quite a lot of other things like part-time work as well. I used to also do part-time work at certain clubs as well, and that would obviously give me an opportunity to meet up with people and see people as well. That's the standard one. Oh, wait, what are you doing? You're in the club, like networking. Some people will say that, they'll say that, but they're really just there for a good time. But yeah, I would actually go. I would be working, so I would try and make money and also network whilst I was also there. So it would work two
Hand
for
in
two
hand.
with
Yeah,
me
no,
as
that
well.
makes
Yeah.
sense. That def-
Obviously, coronavirus halted those
Wow.
those plans as well. But yeah, it's literally however you can reach the talent that you want. As a producer, you know the talent that you're looking for when you see it. So basically, yeah, that's that's what happens. And also like you also just realize like this is from my dancing experience. I had joined a dance crew in South Africa, and these guys were like they're quite seasoned. They were seasoned. I was like the newbie when I had joined.
Yeah.
So um, they were already in the industry, and they were obviously no strangers to being on TV, doing the music videos, working for artists, going on tours with them and things like that. So that kind of like it gave me insight as to how they operated because they were their own agents essentially.
Yes.
As so they had to kind of like I had to see how you get the clients, how they deal with the clients, how a client will try and negotiate with you for pay. When you're in a creative field, you have to kind of understand what your value is, what is benefiting you, when should you not be going for pay, when should you be going for pay, what should you be rejecting, what shouldn't you be rejecting. It's all about just knowing yourself, knowing what your value is at that stage. What's it worth to you? How much will it cost you to go there? How can you go there? You just have to balance everything out. And through that, that's basically how you can kind of like find new artists and just kind of just like understand. Oh, I was actually getting to a point with the dancing thing. I actually forgot how I was going to segue that back to the UK thing. Um, oh yes, there we go.
See? It came back.
Promotional videos. So also, what I would do is also to find artists and to kind of just get a foothold on people that maybe I wouldn't be able to access as easily. I'll do like a promotional video for somebody. So like somebody with a bigger account than what I have. Um, I'll dance on their track or whatever, and then they obviously if they comment back, then you have a direct means to communicate with that person. So it's literally through that. you can obviously pitch yourself after that because you've done. Oh, yes, that was the thing. One-liners, here we go. Favors are currency. There we go.
That's true. I agree.
That's what my dancer friends had taught me. The main thing that they had taught me is that favors are basically currency. And when you do something for somebody, then you're able to kind of just not expect something in return, but at some point, if you're doing favors for people, you will be able to cash in at some point. And if it doesn't happen, hey, the religion is going to have to pull through and the blessings will have to come through around from somewhere else, basically. Hopefully. Um, but it is obviously, you can't give too much of yourself, but at the same time, you kind of just also have to weigh it up. There's also, I had read somewhere, I don't know. It was actually Philip Shabib. He's a choreographer who was also kind of like self-taught, and he has basically made a name for himself in America. He was on So You Think You Can Dance like a long time ago, and basically he was just like the three ways that you can pay creatives is through exposure, um, sorry, not exposure, network. So exposure falls under network, obviously money, and then the other thing is experience. Those are the three ways that you can measure what the value of what you're about to do is. Because if something doesn't offer you one of those things, then it's not worth it. But basically, you can literally, that's the barometer for everything. You can measure anything off of those three things, literally. It was, and that kind of just allowed me to get an understanding of, okay, if I'm not getting the money, am I going to be getting the network, and am I going to be getting the experience? If I don't
That's true.
have the experience, then you need to do it. Even if you have the skill for it, if you haven't got that on your CV, then you don't have the experience, so you can't be claiming the money or the network from it.
True.
So you have to dig deep and get the experience somehow. So that's why I'm always trying to just like spearhead myself into whatever experience I can get myself into, because I never know what may be the outcome and who I may meet from all of those experiences. So
That's
it's
true.
just whether I can afford to do it or not at that time. Do I have the time to do it? And it just obviously just, do I have the means to do whatever I do? So like for me, last month I had enrolled in a sound recordist job, basically, which is doing the sound recording for. I'm sure you know this actually. As a podcaster, you would know this. So obviously there's obviously, just to whoever doesn't know, that's just recording sound for films, basically. Well, for whatever medium, but in this case it was for a film. And obviously in this case, the it was a trainee position because I didn't have experience doing an actual film. So I wasn't actually able to get direct pay, but they were covering expenses essentially. So they were covering like travel and food and whatnot like that, and just like things in between. And they were also supplying additional equipment as well. So it was equipment that I had and didn't have access to. So through that, I was also able to network with directors as well and people that were also part of different companies as well. So it's just experiences like that. I had to obviously weigh up how much money I had also made previously. So I was like, obviously, okay, I'm counting up, like, okay, can I afford to go without income for this? Is my time worth what I'm going to be getting here? But it's like, okay, nah, this actually will work out. You end up with your IMDb credits and you're like, okay, that's something that's there, that will stay there. And then that's obviously, that'll be to your benefit and use after that. So that's kind of just the way that I currently move, and it's been working for me. So, and that's from me doing, like, having nothing, starting from nothing, and being here and just kind of just trying to make something of nothing, essentially. So
Yeah. Well, that makes perfect
yeah,
sense to me.
that's what I
Well,
would say.
what's that?
Yeah.
So we're gonna go into the trickier questions now.
Oh, those are the easy ones. Okay,
Those are the
cool.
easy ones. So This is a little bit more about you and how you value yourself. So my first one is, if you could choose a quote that represents you as a person, what quote would
Oh
you
no.
choose? I want to know. And why would you choose that quote?
Ah, you killing me here. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
quotes.
Oh, honey.
I don't do quotes. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're right. That was the trick. This is a tricky question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, wow, wow. I'm not sentimental in that type of way where I like kind of like store up quotes. I feel like I'd have to reference my phone, which is actually a problem because I'm like, I'm sure that was supposed to be like one of those ones where it's like your life motto is supposed to be like in your head and you just rattle it off to everyone.
I tell you what we do, okay? And I let the listeners know as well. So
Yeah.
when Daniel's podcast comes out, I will write in the description, and this is Daniel's task now. He owes me. He owes me now. You see how it works? You owe me, okay?
I see. Okay, okay.
Daniel will send me a quote in the next, I don't know, whenever he's ready.
I'll be quick with it. Don't
Oh,
worry.
oh, you hear that? He was
I'll
quick
be
with
quick
it.
with it. I'll be
He
quick
was
with it.
quick
Don't
with the
worry.
quote.
After
Okay.
this.
What? Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I'm gonna get ping. Yeah, so Daniel's gonna send me a quote. Once he sends me the quote, it will be at the bottom of his description. So when you hear this part of the podcast, you will know what happened and why is there a quote at the bottom of his description? It's because he didn't give me one when I asked him. Okay, here.
Wow. Gonna have a dig at me over here.
No, I
It's
would
fine. Don't worry,
never.
guys. It's gonna be a life-changing quote, I guarantee
Yeah, you
you.
hear that? A life changing quote. Like he just put himself under pressure by saying that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna move on. Okay. So I'm gonna leave that one there. But here's one you might like actually. So if you were stuck on a desert island and you had all the food and water that you needed, what one album would you take with you?
Ooh. Ooh.
Ah.
Ooh.
3 times?
You couldn't give me like four or something?
Nah,
Like, what
not
did I just
4.
didn't have enough? I could only grab one.
One. So you were packing, you packed, you're gonna go on an island and you're only allowed to have one album. You're lucky I didn't say single.
Come on now. A single.
Yeah. You're lucky I didn't say
You're
single.
asking a producer to pick a single.
Yeah.
Imagine us picking a single. Wow, okay. Uh I'm trying to skirt around choosing that demo tape because but I could actually. I could listen to that. I just feel like no one else would know what that demo tape sounds like. So I feel like it's just gonna be weird. So maybe I'll just that would probably be it. But since I've already mentioned it, I'm gonna pick another one.
Okay, go on.
So I think I think ooh um it would have to be a okay, wait. Checking the phone again.
Referring
Checking
to
the
the
phone again. One more
phone.
time. One more time.
Okay.
But I see, this not see the special music doesn't stay on my Spotify. The special music is saved directly to the phone,
See.
so I have to just like weigh out which album is the one that I can like listen and it's gonna give me the nourishment that I need for
Ooh,
a
I
whole
like the way he
desert.
said that. The nourishment.
um. Okay.
Music of
Uh,
nourishment.
you know what? Yeah, let me just. This is probably gonna be a very weird one,
Go on.
to be honest. But let's see. Okay, yeah, no, it's gonna be a Leah One in a Million. That
Oh,
album.
that's a good album.
That's a good album.
That is
That's
a
like a
good
start to
album.
finish album for me. That's mainly obviously just because of the production, because I'm a Timberland fanboy. I can't even. It's embarrassing how much I really enjoy his stuff. So yeah, that's basically, I think that one I would be able to do that because there's your upbeat stuff as well,
Yeah.
but then there's also just like, you got things that you wouldn't usually be able to hear on something that was made in 1996, I think it was when it came out. You wouldn't really hear that. So it's like that album just feels like very timeless for me. There's other ones though. Like I feel like, ooh, I should have chose one that was like a double disc one. I could have done
You
like
didn't
All
think
Eyes
of
on
it,
Me.
see?
But it's fine. I'll die on that hill. It's fine. I'll die
Okay.
on this hill. It's okay.
Ah, there. Okay, right. Here's another one for you. Let's talk about success. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
You went, ooh, okay. Define what success means to you because success means different things to different people at different times. But to you, what does success mean to you as an individual?
Ooh. Hey. Um, Success is, I think it's just comfortable living. It's like it's whatever you find, however you'll be satisfied at some point in your life. Like if you can reach that point in your life where there's that level of comfort that you're like, okay, I've achieved everything that I've set out to achieve. Like, I don't know, I don't think you can achieve success if you haven't found what what drives you and what you feel like you need to achieve in the world. So like I feel like before you can achieve success, you kind of have to know what you want to achieve first. And obviously for people that's different things. For me it's more just the comfort of living and knowing that I've kind of like set up something that's significant enough to like stand the test of time. Like
True.
if I've set up my kids and my kids after that and whatnot, then I think that's kind of like when I can sit back and be like, okay, I'm comfortable with what I've done for like my family, which will hopefully exist at some point.
Oh, it will. It will. Yeah.
you know, then I think that's kind of like where I would be like, okay, you know what, I've done the success thing. I think I've done the success thing. You know, when I see my grandchildren are all sorted out and they're also on their feet, I think it's also being success is also for me. It's like being completely independent. Like at this moment in time, for me, is success would be being completely independent and just being able to stand on your own feet and the have a place that you can call home of your own that you've built for yourself, like just achieve everything and being able to just be a part of society, existing society,
Yeah.
basically. I think that would be like success for me right now, short term. But in the long term, it would just be like setting up something for everybody else after that. And also just kind of like helping people as well, like whilst you're doing that. Like you don't have to be doing all of that with a frown on your face. Like I think it's just if you can go about that, fulfilling other people's lives whilst you're achieving your success, and you bringing people with you as well, and you trying to elevate everybody else. Then I think
I think you just
that's
said
true
the us.
success.
I think you just said the whole reason behind the Us People podcast just by what you just said. True.
Well, that could be the intro. That could be the intro. A little
Hey.
bit long-winded though. That's the unfortunate thing.
No, I think I think with the podcast, I just always I think people can genuinely feel my happiness because of how much I like to promote people, talk to people, make them feel comfortable, let
Exactly.
them know that they are not, alone and people are out to support them. And I wish that I had that maybe when I was in my teens, I should say, because it's
Exactly.
very hard. Like you said it's hard to find people who you connect with, who you have a good relationship with, and who will be there for you when you're on your journey. Because you don't want to go on your journey, be successful, be there by yourself. Okay, you got this.
Exactly.
You got this big house, 6 cars outside. 8 dogs, 2 cats, and a monkey, and you're and you're literally
And the
just
dinner table is empty because no one's eating with you.
exactly. So you just have to try your best, I should say, prioritizing your time efficiently, but also treating people with as much respect as you would like to receive back.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
And I
that's
felt it as well, definitely. From like when you first came on, I was like, yeah, no, this is
even
good
though
people.
should we tell them what
This is good
happened?
people.
Should we tell them what happened with the okay, right. Guys, I'm gonna embarrass
Snitch on
myself.
me. Oh.
They go, so this is what happened, okay? Daniel came on. So we connected together, and I was waiting for a little while. I was waiting. I was like, okay. Now Daniel, I messaged Daniel on WhatsApp. I said, Daniel, I'm online, hun. He said, okay, Savia, okay, I'm coming on now. So he comes on, and then I can't hear him, and I'm thinking, why can't I hear him before? Like on my side, I can hear me, so, but I couldn't hear Daniel. And Daniel is poor Daniel. He's playing with his mic and he's fiddling with his inputs and outputs. And guess what was wrong? Savia didn't push up the fader. That was the problem. That was it. Savia did Savia just didn't push up the fader. That's all it was. And we all do stuff like this, but I've just embarrassed myself to the pure limit.
Listen,
So
yeah,
it's
we
totally
all have our
okay.
moments.
We
We
all
all
have
have
our
our
moments.
moments.
So that's definitely one thing that I have done today, which I'm sure people will laugh at. So which is fine. So
I
but
hate my daddies.
swiftly moving on. Um I'm sure I know the answer to this one because you've said it a few times. But if you had a chance to collaborate with anyone dead or alive, who would you collaborate with and why?
Okay, wait. Can I get like dead and alive? Oh, but also dead alive as well. So,
Dead or alive, yeah, dead or alive, whichever you prefer. But you're only allowed one.
Hmm.
Don't try and go for one dead or one alive.
You see, I'm always trying to like work out like a
You're
way that
you're
can
trying
just
to dodge
get
it.
a
Yeah,
little
you
bit
done
more
that
just
twice.
out there,
It's like
Hey, but you're always killing me off with these
double
one.
compilation
I
album.
hit you.
Don't have a quote.
Oh my goodness. Ooh,
Okay, any artist.
yeah.
Go on. Any artist or producer or one that is multi talented.
Hmm. Do I really have to do this?
Huh?
Okay, okay, okay. Wow. Like these are terrible questions. You're like, I just don't like being out here dreaming so big. um, let's think one, but like one, guys, that's very hard.
It's
That's
terrible
very hard.
because it's hard and it's because there are so many talented
Okay,
artists
wait.
out there. Okay. He's got one. It's not
What
that
are we
terrible.
doing? No, no, no. But what are we doing? It's a collaboration? But what are we doing a single? Are we doing an album?
It's
Is
whatever you
it?
choose. I gave you the question and then you can manipulate it in any form.
Ooh,
Okay.
ooh.
It is a hard one because even I found it
Okay, you
hard.
know what? You know what's gonna happen?
Go on.
We're gonna like diversify a little bit more.
Okay, go on.
Um, so it would be a collaboration album with the Neptunes.
Oh, that's a good one. No one said that to me
There we
yet.
go. I'm glad I'm out here like, switching it up a little
No
bit.
one has said that to me yet. No one's mentioned the Neptune. I went to see them for real once. It was really good.
For real.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
when when was it? Which Pharrell was this?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. Um, which Pharrell was this?
Is this Happy Pharrell or is this like fronting Pharrell?
No, it was actually really calm Pharrell. I'm not gonna lie. He was
Okay,
he
okay.
was very, I think he was, you know, when someone becomes very not confident but comfortable in their skin, that's the Pharrell I got.
Okay, yeah, nah. And he has that like more recently, he definitely has that cool demeanor, like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you would if
yeah,
if you're in his position, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's yeah.
It was
Basically
nice.
up there with Devontae and Timberland as Pharrell. Like basically, if I was born in Virginia, that would also be great.
Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah, oh, yeah. But you can get there. Remember, your talent can take you anywhere.
That's also true. This is also true. But I don't think it's the melting pot that it was at that time in like the early 2000s,
But
late
remember,
90s or
but
so.
remember, Daniel. Even though that time was that time, there are people who are elevating. It could be even yourself, and you don't know it yet. People who are elevating and becoming the new version of them.
I like what you're saying right there.
Yeah. And you never know who those people are. For me, you never know. I might be the new podcaster of I don't know, or have a show. I don't know. In 10 years' time, I could have my own show and bring you back. And you're like, remember that conversation we were having about you being the next, you know? You never
And that
know.
collaboration with the Neptunes.
Exactly. You never know where your life will take you. But I always say this to my listeners. I always say you have to stay inspired and you have to believe in yourself. No matter what gets thrown at you, you have to believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how are other people going to?
Definitely,
So
definitely.
that's definitely what something I always say to everyone. But I have two more questions for you, Daniel.
Okay,
And
okay.
the second to last one is, what advice would you give your fans or followers about being positive within the music business? Because have you ever felt like you've had lack of support, lack of money? We did actually speak a little bit about this before. Um, and doing something for no money and feeling like you're going to reap a reward from it, or benefit from a favor. But what would you say to people who are listening, who are, they could be advanced or they could just be starting out, but feel like they haven't got the support, feel like they're in a slightly dark place because they're not where they want to be? What would you say to them to uplift them and to tell them to keep going?
I think the fact that you're not where you want to be should be the reason why you keep going.
That's a good
I
answer.
think that's definitely the fact that you're not where you want to be, like definitely that should be your driving force. If you haven't arrived, then how can you stop like traveling? Like it's there's no point. Then you've wasted all that time when you started because you're not where you started, but maybe you're not just where you need to be. But that doesn't mean that you haven't achieved anything and you don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
Like you still have places to go, but you've already left where you started from. So I think just being immersing yourself in your journey as well is very key to kind of like keeping yourself motivated and just knowing that there's people like the Us People
Yeah.
podcast, for instance, that will big
Hey.
up you
Yeah, most definitely.
when something is going. They'll find like you found me essentially, and that's for me. That's something that I was blown away by as well. Um, and like I was obviously, I'm just happy to just share anything that like I would be happy to kind of just jump in and be on the other side. Hey, I would have done an interview of you if
Oh my
if you
gosh,
had
yeah.
if you
That
had
would be so.
offered.
I would love for someone to do an interview of me, because if I had to answer my own questions, oh my gosh. Oof.
Because usually I actually do some interviews on we have an online dance magazine with that same dance crew that I was part of. Obviously,
Yeah.
because I'm absent, we kind of like, okay, let's see how we can still, keep this thing that we have going. So I sometimes host there, and I'm also obviously asking questions and things to the other dancers in the community, because we're just trying to create like just a sense of community in South Africa for our street dance that's there
Yeah.
as well, because it's very separated. The street dance is kind of separated to the commercial dance as well,
Yeah.
in terms of like the people that will hire for music videos, they kind of like rotate between specific circles and things like that. So we just want to have like our own community just getting together and having a place where they can express themselves as well.
Yeah.
So it's almost like when you came and told me this, I was like, I have to be a part of this. I have to do this. Like this is what I like. I love doing this. I love just sharing and meeting new people and just communicating things, and anybody that's trying to help out and help people reach where they need to reach. I'm here for it, and I just want to also just help engage people in a way that's helpful to them, so that they can also just achieve whatever they want to do as well. And we can just all just be working together.
Yeah.
Like I hate the idea of waiting for what somebody to pass away for us to give them their roses or something, or for us to
Yeah.
acknowledge talent and things only after they get the recognition from somebody else or something like that. Like if I see something, I just think it's so important to just acknowledge. It's so
Yeah.
important to just acknowledge that. And yeah, like I think that kind of just that whoa, what was the question?
The
Where was
question
I?
the question is, what advice would you give your fans and followers about being positive? So no matter what is
Yes,
in their way, about
indeed.
being supportive.
Yes, okay. I think yes, exactly. So basically, I think it's surround yourself with good company as
Yes.
well. Watch the people that you surround yourself with, because when you're surrounded by people that are feeding you with, as I said, they're nourishing you, they're feeding you with good energy, then your output will be good. And the right people, um, they will have time for you. They'll have the right intentions for you. And
Yeah.
things might not be black or white, they may be gray a little bit, but I think it's just that if you can work with it and people have good hearts and good souls, I think that's when you can really just make some ground and build something around you. Like the people around you are just so important.
Yeah.
Your friends, your family. Um, we weren't put on this earth alone, and I think we have to lean on each other at some point. And if we're too closed off to do that, we can't achieve that much on our own.
Yeah.
We all need some help. We all need some help at the end of the day. And I think uh one thing is just try and also don't have too much pride
Yeah.
to prevent you from reaching the opportunities, the heights that you can reach. Like if you just have too much pride, it'll eat you inside. Pride is like it's a terrible thing. And a lot of the times I've also had it. I've come from a background where it's kind of like I've had to eat humble pie. You have to take L's. Like you have to. It's part of growing up. It's part of living. There were so many times where I felt like I was so afraid of failing, that I wouldn't go and do things that if I had just done them and taken that fall, I would have gotten back up stronger a lot faster than like kind of like weighing it up, like, oh, should I
Yeah.
go for it? Should I not go for it? And that's definitely what I'm that ooh, there we go. That is what I live by. That is what I live by. I'll come up with a nice quote for it, but I have to find the quote for it. But that is definitely what I live by. It basically just letting go of your pride. Like you have to let go of all of your pride. You need to humble yourself, because that is the way that you can reach. You have to kind of like go down to like get back up, basically. Otherwise you're just not going to get anywhere, unless you were obviously on that level
Yeah.
already, but
No, that's
not a
true.
lot of us are. So we have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. So
So
yeah.
My last question for you is to plug yourself as much as you can, okay? This is your time to shine. So, Daniel, where can we find you on all your social medias?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. It's at OD the Kid Official. Should I spell that?
Go for it.
OD the THE KID official. I hope you guys know how to spell official. I'm trying to think of it. OFFICIAL. At OD the Kid Official. On Instagram. On Spotify, it's OD the Kid. Spotify, Apple Music, all of that. It's OD the Kid. OD, lowercase the, and capital KID, the Kid. And that's the same on YouTube as well. Twitter, I don't know. Twitter, I don't really use it as much, so I'll just leave it. And and also, I don't know. I feel like I just need to. Twitter is a place where I kind of it's my personal space. I just say what I need to say, and then I'm out. So I think I definitely need to get a bit better with Twitter.
I think a lot of people do that with Twitter. Yeah,
exactly.
most definitely.
Yeah. Exactly, but it's only the Kid everywhere else. And also, just if you are joining, then stay tuned because my label website will be dropping soon, and that's going to be www.fakedeeprecords.com. So yeah, that will be coming soon in a couple of weeks. I'm just actually busy web designing that, and that's basically where I'm going to have all of the services as a music freelance producer. All of those will be there, and basically it'll be a place where you guys can reach the music, and basically I'll be able to just basically provide everybody with the services that I do for people. So yeah.
Perfect. Daniel, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. The pleasure has been mutual.
We have had a laugh, most definitely. Guys, I want to thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. Please remember you can subscribe to Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer to listen to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also donate to the Us People podcast by simply going onto the Savia Rocks website, which is www.savia.rocks, or simply going to the PayPal website and typing in paypal.me/Us People podcast. Thank you for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another.
I haven't ever done the radio thing, put on your radio voice. I feel like you do that. You do your I don't know. You just have that radio voice where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to listen to this part. In fact, when I previously listened to one of the podcasts, and I was like, wow, this voice. I'm like, I could listen to this all day. Like,
seriously?
Yeah, it was like super calm. I was like, yeah,